morning. Welcome to UUCC, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Canandaigua. We are a group of spiritual freethinkers who gather to celebrate life, build community, and better the world. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. I'm Karen Alvarez, your worship associate for this morning, and the service today will be led by our minister, the Reverend Cindy Terlazzo. Thank you to everyone on this morning's worship team, also including music by Bill Mills, and religious education for children 3 and over by Nancy Reed and Kaya Mills. If this is your first visit, welcome. We invite you to sign the visitor's book in the entryway. And whether it's your first visit or your 1,000th, we are glad you came. This service is also being live streamed to our YouTube channel. We will plan on continuing with hybrid services, so you can join us each week here in person, on Zoom, or later on YouTube. To help us connect better with our friends watching from home, please turn around and give a wave to the camera. At the end of the service, we will invite our friends on Zoom to turn on their cameras and wave back. I have a few announcements to share with you today. If you have a joy or sorrow to share, please fill out the card or the scrap of paper on your chair. We invite you to bring them forward and place them in the basket after Bill rings the chimes and begins to play. You can also come forward to drop a pebble in the water if you have a joy or sorrow that you'd prefer, not to share. The SEJ committee kickoff was a great success. We're excited about the upcoming year, and we thank everyone who participated in the meeting, as well as so many of you for staying to share your ideas and goals. During the meeting, we identified the service partners and volunteer leaders. We would like to highlight a new activity this year. Starting October 17th, we will host a community social justice potluck every month on the third Friday from 6 to 8. Stay tuned for more details about this and other activities. We will post information on the bulletin board in the back and in the newsletter, and of course, have announcements during service. Please join us after the service today for a presentation by Drew Valonis on scams, what they look like, how they work, and how to protect yourself. The presentation will immediately follow the service, and it will be live streamed and also available later on our Zoom channel. The theme for the harvest season is liberation. Copies of the Spiritual Deepening Packet are available on the white shelves at church and online. Today is your last chance to order clothing with the Side of Love logo on the front and our 3 local UU church logos on the back. If you're not sure what that looks like, go see Danielle. She's wearing one. In addition to t-shirts, newly available items include long sleeve shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, and offerings in more adult and also now youth sizes. We have a special discounted rate from the printer that will end today. So you can find the link in the weekly announcements in your email or posted in the back of the room. Orders will be distributed at church on a Sunday after they arrive. The fundraising committee encourages everyone to join us for our community trunk or treat on October 25th from 4 to 6. Also, to help people get started on their homespun holiday crafts for the holiday sale, we will have a bring your own crafts if you have something that just needs a little finishing up, sew on some buttons, not where I'm at, which is start at the very beginning. But we'll be working on that on October 12th, next week, after the potluck. There will be a board meeting on Tuesday this week at 7 o'clock. If you have any questions or concerns that you would like addressed, please let me know. Are there any other announcements for the good of the community?
Hi, I'm Melissa. I recently got wind of this organization called United We Stand, and they're doing some local homeless outreach. So I am gathering things like blankets, sweaters, coats, anything like toothbrushes, and the event will be held October 15th. So if anybody has anything that they can donate, that would be amazing. Thank you.
Today at 12:30 at the Victor Library, there will be a meeting of the Connection Collective, and that's a kind of idea very similar to our idea for the community justice potlucks, is just bringing together people from the community who want to build connection, relationships, because we're all stronger together. And if you are interested in more information about that or have questions, you can talk to me after the service. I'll be going today, 12:30 at the Victor Library.
Hi, I'm Pamela, and it's really nice to be here with you all. It's been a long time. Thank you for the invitation and the open hearts. Monday is garlic planting at Fruition Seeds, and if you don't know Fruition Seeds, they have worked with Radical Hospitality, so you might pick up some garlic on your way out too. And on the 11th, from noon to 4, they have community ginger digging and fighter cider making celebration. I have all of this if you want me to send it to you. And on the 6th, they're planting a garlic again. So lots of activities there if you look at their website. And, you know, it's a mutual communal thing. So.
Today's hymns are all in the teal hymnal, so I hope that you have one. And if you don't, I do see about 8 of them back on the shelf back there. One thing to point out is that the hymn after the meditation words will be in this hymnal. It's 1011. It's Return Again. It has 2 parts. We'll be singing through both parts a few times, but if you feel like repeating one of the parts, just go right ahead because it will all fit together. Speaking of all fitting together, the very first hymn is 1003. It's called Where Do We Come From? And when you look there, you will see there are 4 lines of music, and they're numbered 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you'll notice that at the end of each line, there are 2 lines and 2 little dots. And that's a sign in music to tell you to repeat. So we'll sing each one of those lines twice. So I think for today, we'll sing each one twice through, and that will be 1 time through, and then we'll go back and we'll do them all again. However, if you feel so moved by one of the ones that you sing, like, oh, I just have to sing that one again, you go ahead and sing that because they all fit together, and it will just make a beautiful harmony. And as we get to know the hymn more and more, we'll break into fancy harmonies in the future too. Thank you.
So I would like to personally thank Bill for that brief how to read music lesson, because that's something I learned in 4th grade and cannot remember, and it's always helpful. And I also remembered in the course of the announcements, we have a drop box out by the front door for new or gently used shoes that Laura Wink has a connection that she is collecting for. So as we prepare to be fully together, I remind you to silence your phones and devices. We now enter a space of worship, and now is the time to bring forward any joys or sorrows and to drop a pebble if that's what you'd like to do.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the movement and the power, Spirit draw near.
Do we have anybody interested in assisting with the chalice lighting this morning? All right, then I'll do it myself. I invite you to join with me in our chalice lighting words. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
So our opening words this morning are by Paul Stephen Dadenhoff. The freedom to doubt, to question, to be content to live in mystery is central to the liberal religious tradition. Like the process of evolution itself, the path that we follow, our practice, if you will, is not easy or simple. It isn't without its dead ends or its disappointments. It doesn't guarantee that all of our conclusions will be final or that we will ever find the answer to all of our questions. But also, like the process of evolution, it is filled with great expressions of beauty and awe that are sometimes born of great struggle and at other times come as unexpected grace. Come, let us now worship together.
Our opening hymn, number 1003. Please rise as you're willing and able and join us to sing.
So we have a little reader's play for Time for All Ages. So I have a couple of helpers, so Nancy and John and Karen. If two of you could go over to that mic and one person join me here. So, okay, they'll be over here, we'll be over here.
I was already close.
I know. So we enjoy this. This is a playful mystery for 4 voices. It was written by Thomas Rhodes. So number 1, whoever's number 1.
I'm 2.
Okay.
Once upon a time,
A long time ago.
A very, very long time ago.
Like before your parents were even born.
there was a mystery.
She was a great mystery.
And nobody understood or appreciated her.
Mainly because there was no one else around to appreciate or understand anything.
For a long, long time, nothing happened.
The great mystery waited
And waited.
and waited some more.
Until at last she said,
I'm bored.
and so the mystery set the stars in the heavens.
And the planets to circle the stars.
And comets to wander to and fro.
And it was all very beautiful.
But after a couple of billion years of watching, the mystery decided it was still.
Boring.
The mystery was lonely.
She wanted someone to play with.
So she looked among all the stars and planets.
But some of the stars were.
Too hot.
And others were.
Too cool.
And some of the planets were.
Too big.
And others were.
Too little.
But finally, she found one that was.
Just right. Sound like anybody you know?
The planet was covered with water.
But there were huge chunks of land sticking out.
And even mountains and plains and rivers.
Best of all, there were tiny, tiny creatures called protozoa.
That lived and squirmed in the water.
Come play with me.
The mystery said.
But the protozoa just kept on squirming like they hadn't even heard her. Like
Which
that.
isn't surprising.
Because they didn't have any ears.
After another couple of billion years of watching the stars and planets and comets,
And the squirming protozoa.
The mystery was bored again.
so then the mystery got an idea.
She decided to glue some of the protozoa together with stuff called protoplasm.
Yes, it was a good idea. And when they were stuck together, the protozoa began working together.
And they formed eyes and feet and mouths and stomachs.
And ears.
Oh, so they could see and move around and eat and digest.
And hear me.
But even if the new creatures could hear the mystery, they still didn't pay much attention to her.
Instead, they watched each other.
And they moved around and ate and digested each other too.
At least it was more interesting than watching the stars and the planets and the comets.
It was more interesting because as the new creatures watched and moved around and ate and digested,
They changed.
And they grew.
They evolved.
and soon there were all kinds of different animals.
In the seas and on the land,
And mountains and rivers.
There were cows that said,
and sheep that said, bah.
And 3 singing pigs said, la la la.
No, that isn't right. Pigs say oink all day and night.
Oh, sighing. Okay, oink.
Oink.
Oink. But the idea of singing pigs got the mystery to thinking.
Maybe some of the animals could use their mouths for singing or talking, as well as eating.
And yelling. And they would make great playmates that way.
So she waited and watched as the animals continued to evolve.
And sure enough, after another bazillion years, she saw them.
They were really funny looking.
All of their fur was stuck on top of their heads,
Just a few other places on their bodies,
and they walked on just 2 feet.
instead of all 4 like most other creatures.
But best of all, they could talk.
They would be so much fun to play with.
But the new creatures had problems, though.
The new creatures didn't have any fur, so they were cold much of the time.
And they didn't have big teeth or sharp claws. Yeah, they had trouble getting food to eat.
So the mystery gave them some ideas for making fires and growing crops.
And for a while, everything went just great.
The new creatures called themselves humans, which means from the earth.
And for a long time, the humans lived in balance with the other creatures.
The mystery enjoyed watching the humans and giving them new ideas.
But she was always careful to make sure that the humans never saw her or heard her directly.
Because then she wouldn't be a mystery anymore.
The humans were curious, though, and they wanted to know more about the mystery.
Was the mystery at all human, like they were?
Was the mystery male or female or something else entirely?
Did the mystery care about them?
Of course I do.
If they prayed hard enough, would the mystery make their crops grow?
Perhaps, but only if you take care of the earth.
Or punish their enemies?
I don't think so. Your enemies want me to punish you, but I won't do that either.
The humans had lots of other questions, too, like,
Where do we come from?
And what are we supposed to do with our lives?
Why do people get sick, suffer, and die?
But the mystery was silent about these things too.
she knew that if she spoke to them, the humans would think that she was a god.
A god like they wrote about in their ancient books.
But the mystery was greater than any god and far beyond anything the humans could imagine.
And she didn't want to terrify the humans.
And besides, it was more interesting that way.
More time passed, and the humans kept evolving.
They gathered themselves together in cities and built roads to connect the cities.
They planted huge fields of crops and built machines to harvest the crops.
And they built other machines for traveling on the roads.
And they took the cows and pig and sheeps and penned them up to use them for food.
And they argued a lot about what they were supposed to be doing with their lives.
But the mystery kept quiet, hoping that they would figure it out for themselves.
The humans kept building more cities and more roads, more fields, and more machines.
Soon the world was filled with humans.
And there was no room for the wild animals anymore.
The cows and sheep and pigs got more and more crowded in their pens.
The humans were running out of space and time, too.
Some thought there was no more room for mystery either.
When the mystery realized that the humans thought they had figured out everything for themselves, she became very sad.
And maybe a little mad. Some of the humans claimed that the mystery was angry, and if everybody didn't do what they said, she would destroy them.
Others said that they didn't need the mystery anymore. They could do fine on their own.
It seemed that the humans were too busy building and arguing to play anymore.
The mystery wanted to say something, but she knew her voice would terrify the humans.
She also believed that they would argue about the meaning of her words.
They couldn't even agree on "thou shalt not kill" or "love your enemies" and what that meant.
And besides, she knew that simply making the humans do what she wanted would take the fun out of playing.
Maybe there was another way.
The mystery knew that the humans wouldn't listen to her, no matter how loudly or clearly she spoke.
Maybe instead of telling the humans what to do in a loud voice like thunder, she should use a softer voice, like a whisper.
Maybe instead of speaking to their ears, she should speak to their hearts.
Maybe instead of using words, she could use feelings.
And that is exactly what she did.
My pages are sticking together. If you listen very closely, you will hear what the mystery is saying to you.
Don't listen with your ears, listen with your heart.
Think about what you feel when you consider this beautiful planet our home.
Do you feel joy?
Do you feel a sense of wonder?
Do you feel thankful?
Do you feel love?
Each of these feelings is a part of the mystery.
Because each of us is part of the mystery.
When we recognize and act on our feelings of joy, wonder, thanksgiving, and love,
Then the mystery will play with us and through us for a long, long time to come.
amen.
Shalom.
And blessed be. So thank you for witnessing and participating in our Reader's Play. And now, it's time for our offering.
Now is the time in our service to join together in the spiritual practice of generosity. Our gifts of both time and money support our church in its work. Each week, we would like to spotlight a group or committee and thank them for their gift of time. This week, I'm going to spotlight committee involvement in general. The board is currently evaluating the committees we have, what committees we might need, who's involved with them right now. So if you have any thoughts on that, if you'd like to get more involved, I guess if you'd like to be less involved, but I don't really want much of that. And if there's some committees or things that you think need growing and nurturing, please reach out to me before Tuesday. 1/4 of our plate collection for the harvest season will go to our service partner, Finger Lakes Justice Partnership. Finger Lakes Justice Partnership helps weave together the efforts of region's diverse justice-seeking individuals, organizations, and institutions. Through advocacy for members of historically marginalized groups of all kinds, they work to move the Finger Lakes away from passive acquiescence to injustice and toward an active embrace of anti-racism, community building, mutual aid, and understanding. You can give to this morning's offering by placing cash or a check into the basket or by one of the options on your screen. Please make a note that your gift is intended for today's offering. We now gratefully accept the offering.
We have a joy here for nature and camping with friends. We have a sorrow from Dorothy. She's letting us know that ICE is looking for vendors to do deep research on social media to identify undocumented people. Maria is celebrating joy. Yesterday, she went to a bounce house with her best friend and went out for ramen afterwards. What a good time. And Nancy has the delightful joy of welcoming Bob's son Mike and his wife Cheryl, who are visiting from Portland, Oregon, which they inform me is free from invasion. So let us now sing our children downstairs with Go Now in Peace, right? Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the soul of God surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Let's take a minute just to breathe in together that collective sense of joy that was shared, and also the sorrows, and know that those things that have not yet been shared, there's space to share them when you're ready with those around you. So we'll enter into a time, the invitation is there to enter into a time of meditation, prayer, and reflection with the words of Vanessa Tatang. Dear Spirit, what is the meaning of life, the purpose for us living? Are we your playthings or your precious children? Were you lonely once in need of us? Are you lonely now? When we pray to you, why are our answers roundabout? Why do they come in mysterious ways that make us question, that make us doubt, that make us wonder how much is in our imagining? Why can we only perceive you in images of others, in the sunlight, in the beauty and majesty of creation? What is your true form? Is it too much for us to bear, as it has been written in scriptures? Are there angels? Are there demons? Are they figurative or literal? Should I worry about the prayers I send and whom they end up with? I believe in your grace and protection and cannot imagine them slipping through the cracks. Are we wrong to give you a name? Does it diminish our praise of you? Is this putting your name in vain? I dance around the word God, for that seems not to capture everything that I know you to be. What is the word that I should use that is suited for me? Dear Spirit, I know I will not receive a letter, a word from you in answering all of these questions. I know I should seek in unexpected places, even in my own thought, that you put in my mind for answers to the mysteries, some perhaps that are never meant to be answered. I know that I should find you in the rainstorm, in the raindrops, in the majestic trees and leaves. I know that you are in the cracks of the face of an elderly woman and the sparkle in the eye of a newborn babe. I know you are in the DNA of the most infinitesimal creature and in the structure of the mountain range. You are in my bloodstream and my spirit. You are in the space between bodies and in the makeup of those very bodies. You are the vessel and the empty space that makes the vessel what it is. You are everything we are in, and everything we are made of, and more. You are the heavens and the universe, and that further on, the gravity that makes it turn, and the gas that burns the stars and the light that they emit. You are a precious, heavy-weighted idea, too much for living minds alone. so that we compartmentalize to understand, that we computerize to try to reach in ones and zeros and logic diagrams. In essence, what I am really trying to say is I want to know you, to become closer to the all that is in and of us all. And I will work from this end to try to find you in places other than just the sky. I will search for answers between the pages, learn from other and long ago sages. I will find the truth that you silently speak, and thank you for this all eternally. So I have a reading for you. It's from Susan Shukatsky. Day by day, month by month, year by year, we are confronted with all that we do not know, that we do not understand, that we do not grasp. Sometimes we are humbled by this knowledge and say, it is too wonderful for me to comprehend, but I know this universe is more grand and more beautiful than I ever could have imagined. And I give thanks for the blessing of being here and seeing and hearing, experiencing and sensing all that is so wonderful around me. Sometimes we are saddened by this knowledge and say, "Oh, merciful Spirit, we need to have the burden of hurt and suffering removed from us. Grant us the courage, the wisdom, and fortitude to bear the pain of living. Send us those who will carry our burdens for a short while, and send us those who will comfort us with their healing words and thoughts." Sometimes we are angered by the knowledge and say, "In the name of justice and compassion, if it be in our power, give us the strength and ability to right the wrongs, for we do not, nor does any person in the world deserve this." Sometimes we are made joyous by this knowledge and we say, "Spirit of life who blesses our world, we rejoice and cheer for our glorious life." Sometimes we are made curious by this knowledge and say, "Holy and explicable is this life. I have no idea what happened or how it happened, But somehow, some way, something changed, and I am free, free to explore new ways of being. Please, always let me continue to search for the unknown in myself and in others.
This morning, we share with you several quotes by Neil deGrasse Tyson. Neil is an astrophysicist, author, and science communicator. He studied at Harvard, the University of Texas, and Columbia University. Since 1996, he has been the director of the Hayden Planetarium at the American Museum of Natural History in New York City. He says, "The universe is under no obligation to make sense to you. It is not only stranger than we imagine, it's stranger than we can imagine. Everything we do, every thought we've ever had, is produced by the human brain. But exactly how it operates remains one of the biggest unsolved mysteries, and it seems the more we probe its secrets, the more surprises we find. Where ignorance lurks, so too do the frontiers of discovery and imagination."
Well, I don't know about you, but sometimes all of this sense of mystery feels too much. Sometimes living in this world has me feeling brokenhearted. I feel tossed about and battered by the events of the world. One bit of news has me immersed in worry and concern, and the next bit brings me a whisper of hope. And too often I feel whiplashed as the news bounces so quickly from hope to hopelessness. I can find myself caught up in a game unfolding before me in which I feel powerless to make any kind of impact upon these games that have such extremely high stakes. And yet, I cannot let myself make my home in such a land. I cannot let myself stay mired in fear and hopelessness, in feelings of impotence. It's important for me to find ways to take the widest angle view I can, to remember that humans have always wrestled with questions of where do we come from, where are we going, and I think maybe the most important question is, what are we supposed to do while we're here? I'm part of a group that has been meeting online for several years, and we explore all kinds of topics. Recently, there was a topic that revolved around these very questions. We came to the same conclusion that thinking about where we came from, thinking about what happens next are really kind of fun thought experiments. But what's most important is the exploration, the living of our being here and now, and doing our best to understand for ourselves what is our part to play here in these unfolding games. There's a teacher of mine named Barry Kaufman who told this following story. It's a true story. He was engaged in leading a workshop on personal growth based on the idea that we always have the power of choice. Even in the most dire circumstances, we have the capacity to pause. Now, we may not always do this, but we have the capacity to give ourselves time to respond to the events surrounding us, rather than simply react to them. He had a policy that when he was teaching, he shouldn't be interrupted, and his staff took great care to respect this. So it happened one day that several members of his staff were at the back of the room, and they kept kind of indicating that he should come and talk to them. He excused himself from the group, and he went to meet with his staff, and he was told of some unfolding world events. So it turned out that this was September 11th, 2001. Airplanes had just assailed the World Trade Towers. News was breaking that other planes, all leaving from Logan Airport in Boston, were heading to other targets. His son was scheduled to fly out of Logan Airport that morning. Faced with this news and aware of the fact that many of the people in this session were from New York City, he practiced exactly what he was teaching that day. He shared the news that he had just received, and not surprisingly, he was met with cries of disbelief, of rage, of fear. He held space for what arose. Then, returning to the topic of the day, he asked those present if they thought it was possible to practice there and then the idea that they had the power to respond rather than to react. He offered this illustration to them. He presented the idea that we are all indeed all connected to each other in some great mysterious web of interconnection. And does that sound familiar to anybody? He invited everyone to imagine a being, and you can call it whatever you like, but he asked them to imagine a being, and that this being was the embodiment of all. He suggested that some molecules in the being, for reasons unknown to the whole, decided that flying airplanes into those towers was important, and were in essence moving the body of this interconnected being in a particular direction, a direction that appeared to be fueled by hate and was by its actions causing great harm and destruction. He extended this illustration to include those gathered in that particular space on that morning to imagine themselves as part of the same being, as he asked the group, what choice did they want to make? Could they imagine that by centering themselves in love, that perhaps they could begin to nudge this great body in another direction, one that was centered on love, not hate, on healing, not harm? You know, without a question, this was a practice unlike anything those gathered had ever experienced before. This practice did not undo the events of the morning, but for those hours together, they made a conscious choice to live their biggest expression of love in the midst of unimaginable circumstances. You know, there's no way that we could measure the impact that their choice may have made in the big picture. But for those gathered, the practice that they took part in, this conscious choosing made a significant difference to them on that previously unthinkable morning. This story has inspired me, and I've met and studied with Mr. Kaufman myself, so I know the potential of such a practice. I also know that we each come with our own unique histories, our histories that have impacted us in different ways, and for some, this may seem like an absolute impossibility. But one of the many things that I find significant in this story is the power that was generated by the collective body. So there may have been one person who just thought this was impossible, but by being together and imagining that they were a part of this, whatever you want to call it, and that they perhaps had the possibility of pausing long enough to center love, maybe that act in and of itself could move this experience in a slightly different direction. Truly, we are stronger together. When we join together in a vision of possibility, we can draw strength from one another when we question what we can possibly do on our own. You know, as it turned out, Barry's son wasn't on that plane that left Logan Airport that morning. Mystery. Mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. I find over and over that I need the widest angle view I can conjure up to remind me of how much we are living in this incredibly great mystery. I think that it's mine to figure out how to hold this wide angle while also doing my part to figure out how to be present to the immediateness of this life, to be present to the pain, to the suffering, to the worries that happen every single day, by all that is going on in these moments, to the injustice of the world, while also considering and practicing in the best way that I know how to live my life in ways that I believe do and can benefit the common good. Wide angle view, laser focused on what is right in front of me, within and without, doing my best to remain centered on love. I will return to these ideas over and over in the time to come because these are foundational for me. I see my assignment in this life to live my life in such a way that no matter where I find myself, I'm centering love in how I respond. I'm doing my best to become love. I extend an invitation to this practice to each of you individually and to all of us collectively. And I'm going to end this morning with these words by Frederick Buechner. Whenever you find tears in your eyes, especially unexpected tears, it's well to pay the closest of attention. They are not only telling you something about the secret of who you are, but more often than not, Spirit is speaking to you through them of the mystery of where you have come from and is summoning you to where you should go next. Our closing words are given us today by Eric Williams. We all emerge from, dwell within, are transformed by, and called back to love. May your mind be humbled before this mystery. May your heart grow hopeful by it. May you be sustained by this love always. And our closing hymn is hymn number 1020, Wo Ya Ya, and the Teo hymnal. You may rise and stand as you're willing and able.
If you're joining us on Zoom today, now is the time to turn your camera on if you would like to wave goodbye. Please join me in our words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame,
but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment.
These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.